Welcome to Mind Pioneer, the podcast where host Scot Donnell interviews experts in health, wellness, and technology.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Mind Pioneer. I have an awesome guest today, Dr. Whitney Roban. Whitney, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
I'm great, Scott. How are you?
I'm good. We're going to have an amazing conversation about sleep. If you struggle with sleep, if you want to optimize your sleep, if you want to know all of the coolest tips on how to hack your sleep and why our world is struggling with it so much these days, we're going to talk to Whitney about it. Let me introduce her real quick. So Dr. Whitney Roban is a renowned family education and corporate sleep specialist, founder of Solve Our Sleep. She's an award-winning author, sought-after speaker by school districts, corporations all over the country. She's been featured in publications in the New York Times, CNN, Today Show, NBC, Forbes, and Rolling Stone. She's on the advisory board of the American Sleep Association, which I have a million questions about. She serves as a resident expert in many wellness companies. This is her mission, is to provide sleep education and support that we need to not only survive, but thrive. So Whitney, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. So you guys know her credentials. She's officially able to talk everything sleep. So first question is, what got you into this? Like, why is sleep your world? Like, is there some crazy incident that happened in your life or what? Tell us the story.
My crazy children. So I am trained as a cognitive behavioral clinical psychologist. Always thought I would work in private practice and work in the schools. I'm also trained as a school psychologist. After graduation, I started doing research in the world, applied social research, and 9/11 happened. And my company restructured and they offered me, I was supposed to go back part-time. They offered me to go back full-time or nothing. And I just had a baby. And I said, I will stay home with this baby and take some time off. And the child didn't sleep. And I said, this is a person who loves their sleep. And so long story short, I started going to Mommy and Me classes in New York City. And I was told, you should really do this as a profession. And let me tell you, nobody talked about sleep then. He's 19 now. So this was, 19 years ago.
All right.
And I said, okay, maybe I'll start, being a sleep expert. And I got pregnant again. I moved to the West Coast with my family to California, had another child who didn't sleep. Nobody was sleeping there. And hence my practice was born there. And so I started having this family practice. I started actually working with parents of children. And then once I got the kids to sleep, the parents said, now help me. So then I started working with them. I started working with children in middle school, high school, and then it just blossomed from there, going into schools, going into corporations. And now I have this whole big business that I love, talking about sleep 24/7.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and an 11-month-old.
Oh, wow.
Who literally just woke up from his nap four rooms down. And we talk about this all the time. Let's start with kids.
Okay.
And then I bet you that's going to lead into adults a lot. But what's your position on kids sleeping? Is this a cry it out model? Like, is this a don't ever let them in your bed model? Like, what you've seen the best of the best. What's your thoughts on this? If anybody listening with kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews, this is a nightmare. Like, I've never been more out of my mind crazy than when our kids didn't sleep for a week straight or something like this. So what's your thoughts on kids sleep?
So here's what I say. It's not just about the kids, right? Everybody needs to sleep. It's a basic biological need. We need to eat, we need to sleep, and we need to breathe. So it's not just about, so when parents call me and they say, I just want my kid to sleep. I just want to sleep. I tell them, as a cognitive behavioral therapist, you must restructure that. Restructure the thought. You need, because we need to sleep. We can't survive without it. There's a reason sleep deprivation is used as a torture device on prisoners of war. It is torture if you don't sleep. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, for our physical health, you won't find a medical doctor in this world that will not agree how important sleep is from a medical perspective. So again, it's not just, I want my kids to sleep. We need to. They need to stay healthy. We need to stay healthy. They need to grow. They grow when they sleep. Their brain grows when they sleep. We need to be successful as in our, with our significant others, in our work. It's the umbrella over everything. So
Yeah.
so when they're babies, absolutely, you need to be up all night feeding them and all that kind of stuff. At a certain point, when they can start sleeping through the night, which for a healthy baby is 4 months and 14 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
you go for it. And it's something I give the analogy of a child learning to ride a bicycle. That's one of the first things. The sleep is first, but something that you're going to let go and what might happen. They might cry a little bit. They might even fall off their bike and skin their knee, but immediately they learn. And then they take that skill with them the rest of their life. You can't be that parent that's going to run around while they're in middle school holding the back of their bike or keeping training wheels on. But as
Right.
parents, it's very hard for us to take our hands off and think they can do it. So we bounce them, we rock them, we do everything to help them. We think it's helping them sleep. We're not giving them the opportunity to learn to do it on their own. Given the opportunity, the great thing is that they learn it and they learn really quickly how to do it. I tell parents, use your monitor and watch them and watch the process. And then all of a sudden they can do it without us. But if we don't take a little step back and let them do it, they need us every time they wake up or, to get to sleep. And it's very hard once a child is over 14 pounds, to hold them and rock them and bounce them all night long.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exhausting and crazy.
Yeah.
I always laugh with my wife. It's like when the kids are crying, the best lesson I ever learned was that's exercise. It's good for their lungs. Let them cry. Like it's helpful. Yes, we don't want to have them get trauma, but we also need to teach them to learn this stuff on their own. And my wife, it was like stabbing her through the heart. It was like she had to go in the closet, pillows over both ears. She's crying too. It's so hard.
Not an easy journey, which is why people work with somebody like me, because I'm the emotional support. For who? Not the kid, for the parents.
Yeah.
It's harder on the parents than it is on the child. But again, it's if your child has, a disease and you're going to give them medication, right? You need to treat a medical problem, and sleep deprivation is a medical issue that if you don't solve it when you're young, it keeps going. But one thing I always tell parents also is if you're not ready, that's cool. It's never too late to teach healthy sleep, which is why I work with middle schoolers and high schoolers and college and adults, because we sleep every day of our life. So yeah, if you're not ready to teach your kids sleep habits when they're young, you can do it whenever. You've never missed the boat on learning healthy sleep habits.
Yeah, that's so good. I agree. People think that, well, now I'm an adult, I'll be fine. They don't. If you learn bad habits as a kid, you probably keep those habits when you're older.
Yes.
So
good sleep is the gift that keeps on giving once you learn how to do it. And, there'll be setbacks and there'll be regressions for kids developmentally or for adults, like a pandemic. But, if you have those good habits and you prioritize sleep, there's always a way to get back to good sleep.
I've noticed with our kids, like we have, different stages all the way to 5 now.
Mm-hmm.
What are the stages that may cause some regressions?
Well, the two main things outside of stages would definitely be illness or vacations, right? So during the pandemic, it was a great time to learn healthy sleep habits because, outside of your family catching COVID, which let's hope our listeners did not, there was not a lot of other illness, right, going around. Our kids weren't in preschools and daycares. Everybody was kind of staying healthy outside of COVID, and we weren't traveling anywhere.
Right.
So that was a good thing. It's hard to be committed to healthy sleep habits, especially for young kids. Like you said, your child just woke up for a nap. They should be home for their naps, right? And that's not that very easy, especially for working parents. I work with a ton of working parents, and they come home and they want to be with their kids, but it's time for bed. And how do you, deal with that? For younger ones, the biggest cause of sleep problems are when they transition from 3 naps to 2 naps, 2 naps to 1 nap to no naps, especially if they do it too early. And then crib to bed transition is enormous, causing sleep regression. So a lot of kids that are great sleepers in their crib, once they get into the bed, it's like, wait, freedom? I can get out of here? Mom and dad's room is just over there?
Yeah. Last night, my 3-year-old, we just put him in a bed 3 days ago.
Okay, so you're going through it.
And we put the crib away. And last night, he's like, I want the crib, starts screaming.
Aww.
He's also in the delay phase. He's like, I want water. I got to go poop, but he doesn't. He just wants to sit there for 15 minutes. He's like, I want another song. I want another story.
Another prayer.
Yeah. like doing it all. And I just, I didn't know because he starts crying. I'm like, stay there. And I leave him like, just got to put up with it.
I have tons of tricks up my sleeve to help those kids. It's not as easy when they're in a bed, but they're older and they get it. So there's a lot of other stuff, adjuncts that you can use to, sleep coaching or sleep learning for kids at that age.
Okay, give me a couple. Just give us give me two real quick for the audience. What's a good one?
So, reward charts are really important. And I'm not talking about anything expensive, like 99-cent store stuff. The thing with rewards, we make mistakes with them. Number one, a lot of times we go, oh, if you do this in 5 days, you get behind with door number, door number 3. Well, they have to have an intrinsic motivation to do it. So they go to the store, they put everything in the treasure chest. It's stickers and bouncy balls and erasers, but they want it once it's in that.
They did it. That's so good.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
So important. You also don't want to work on potty training the same time as sleep training because it's too much. So it's one rule that they need to follow. So it's very clear. And then you have to make sure you do it in this progressive reward approach, which is, every day, then every other day, then every 3 days. So you're not rewarding them for sleeping, forever. And after 2 weeks, they do it because they know how good it feels, not because they want, a sticker anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This is good. I'm going to keep them firing because everyone can already tell that you're a genius at this. So, what about vacation? Because you told about that. It's nearing summer. We're gonna post this near summer. It's gonna be probably one of the main points. What are some tips that you have for families that are going on vacations or just adults that are going on either a travel trip or a vacation? How can you keep yourself in an amazing sleep state? How can you get good sleep?
So it's different for kids. So let's talk about kids first, and then we'll talk about adults. So overall, what I say, especially after this year with the pandemic, we haven't been anywhere. Have fun. If we're finally able to travel and you're getting, family time with little kids, don't worry about sleep. Any bad sleep habit that your kids adopt on a vacation can be broken when you get home in 1 to 2 nights. As long as when you get home, you go right back to your sleep plan and you're very strict. Having said that, if you can stick to sleep schedules, that will help. If you have the ability, if you're staying in a family home and they have their own room, keep them in their own room. If they can nap in a crib in the room and you don't mind being in there, great. If not, in a stroller on the beach, stick to as much as you can of what you do at home there. But if you cannot, just know when you get home, it's not, as long as you get right back to it, they can get right back to being good sleepers. It doesn't take long. For adults, it's a little trickier, just adults going on vacation, because when the environment is a big part of sleep. And hotels now, it's great. I'm starting to talk to a few hotel chains about working with them. They have so many things about sleep pillows, and they have sleep meditations and all that. Anything that you have at home that helps you, see if you can bring, right? So a lot of pillows now, they make travel size pillows. You'll probably have your phone with you. So if there's a meditation or app that you use, one of my most favorite things that I sleep with and I recommend a vacation is an eye mask. Because you don't know if there's going to be light coming in, or maybe you're sharing a hotel room with somebody that wants, the TV on or something. So make sure you have an eye mask, maybe some room spray. My favorite is lavender. So bring things that you use at home that you can bring with you that are conducive to, getting better sleep.
That's great. I love that. The eye mask is something that a lot of people usually don't do, but I bet it would have the biggest bang for the buck. Yes. Right? Blocking out blue light, blocking out any light, giving yourself just a consistent sleep as long as you're not hearing random things.
Right.
What about white
earplugs? If you have earplugs and that helps, bring them.
Yeah. So tell me more about that, because my kids use white noise. And sometimes we are like, is it too high? Are their eardrums going to burst? We take it on vacation and trips because it's like the consistent noise that helps them go to sleep, and they're not hearing people outside on the deck talking or a campfire, or, you know what I mean? Like what are your thoughts on that for adults and for kids?
Years ago, right. So years and years ago, when I started this 16 years ago, my private practice, tech wasn't as big, right? So you had white noise machines. And I'd say, well, that's a pain to have to carry on vacation. But now it's so much easier because everything is app related.
Mhm.
So it's not such a big deal to have to bring it. Like, I always say, what if you forget it? And your kid can't sleep without the white noise, but now that's not an issue. But the other thing is we should learn to fall asleep with everyday noise, right? So parents always say, okay, I pretend when my kid goes to sleep, we pretend we're going to sleep and we can't move or do anything. I wouldn't say vacuum, but it's okay that your kids hear noise and that there's noise. It's just going to happen.
Mhm.
Good to learn to be able to sleep with that kind of noise. So drowning out everyday quiet noise, you don't really need to do. But if you have older, children, like sometimes my teenagers go to sleep later than me and I don't want to hear them.
Yeah.
Or, you live in an urban area. I used to live on the old St. Vincent's route out of New York City, and ambulances would go down by my apartment every single day. Those are the reasons you might want to sleep with earplugs or use white noise machines.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's nothing that's going to damage you. It's just more about, for normal life, you want to have basic noise. It's not a bad thing to have
Yes.
kids have some noise. And okay.
Well, I tell the story that I sleep trained my 19-year-old when we lived in New York City on that St. Vincent's route. And then the other one, who's 16, I sleep trained him in the suburbs of Los Angeles. Who do you think's the better sleeper? The sounder sleeper? The one that learned to sleep with the ambulances going.
The ambulances.
Yeah,
I bet.
exactly. He can sleep through anything.
Yeah, they just pass out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, that's really good. We all have those friends. I can think of my buddy right now. He's, when the kids are like just down for nap, it's like, everybody shut up.
Right.
Shut the heck up. It's like, don't ruin everything.
Right.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Like everyone has to be very quiet after 7 p.m.
But they can't think that the world is still spinning while they're sleeping. It's okay. You're a kid and you sleep. I wish I could nap during the day, You're lucky.
There's something comforting too, that there's noise going on. It's like, oh yeah, my family's out there. Like my parents are there. I don't have to be there. I can sleep with them there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. So let's talk about Solve Our Sleep. Okay. This is the business that you've created from all of this learning. What do you do? What are the main, basically products that you have, and why do you sell those? Like, what are the main things that you do to help people?
Okay, well, I sell really service, not product.
Okay.
So there's 3 components. So a few years ago, I rebranded. I had 3 different businesses, and I rebranded them all into one-stop shop, which is Solve Our Sleep. So the 3 components are family sleep. So I have a private practice. I don't call it therapy. It's really sleep consulting or sleep coaching, and I work with all members of a family to help them get better sleep. Second part is the educational component. So I work in school districts around the country, doing sleep workshops, and I wrote a school sleep curriculum to teach sleep in schools. So that I love. And this year that has been, I thought, pandemic. It has been amazing, all virtual. I can do a workshop with a school in New York from 9 to 10, and then a school in Chicago from 10 to 11, and just help everybody. So
Cool.
that's, some of the silver linings of the pandemic. And then my corporate sleep, which was born out of working with a lot of working parents who told me, I can't go back to work. The sleep deprived, help me get my kid to sleep. Then I have to sleep. I had a mom that went on the off ramp to the expressway to go to work one day. She was so sleep deprived. And so I started doing parenting, corporate sleep, and then that built out to all employees, helping them with sleep. So that's sleep workshops and sleep coaching too. So.
Wow. I love it. Okay. So, I mean, I might know the answer to this. What's your favorite part of the job?
That's a great question. My favorite part of the job are the emails I get from people after saying, you've changed my life. I mean, that's why I became a therapist, a psychologist to begin with. You do want to make change. And the great thing about sleep, especially CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, is it works. And you really do see life changes. And that's, there's nothing better than that, especially like parents of like you with young kids. They'll say, this is the best parenting decision I've ever made, is working with you. To see the excitement in teenagers' eyes when talking about sleep. No one talks to them about it. To see their worlds change and to, hear college students' grades going up and athletes performing better. I mean, it's on and on because it really affects everything that we do. So yeah, I have to say the life-changing experience.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I know one of my mentors, Jim, he struggles with sleep. He had insomnia for a long time. It's a lot of it's changing right now, which is amazing. But he likened it to torture. It's just like torture. And I've been deprived, not in my own head, of sleep because of, just stirring sometimes, but usually it's just because something's screaming or crying in another room and I got to help, or be a support to the nursing or whatever.
Yep.
But that's just a season. But yeah, I can imagine if you're stopping people from torture, it's an incredible feeling and it's very satisfying.
Yeah, I love helping.
How much sleep do you get a night, out of curiosity?
Yeah, so adults need between 7 and 9. I am an 8-hour sleeper, and I'll kind of tell you how you figure that out. So years ago, I say find a week when you don't have to set an alarm. Maybe summer's here, so summer vacation would be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And go to sleep the same time every single night and see what time your body starts to naturally wake up on a consistent basis. And then you'll know. So I did that years ago. And I know 8 hours is when my body wakes up without an alarm. If you need an alarm, that means you're not getting enough sleep. Your body should wake up naturally. So 8 hours, I feel great. 7, I'm still good. Not a problem. Could feel it a little bit, but you wouldn't notice. I could feel it. Anything less than 7, I'm not on. I'm sluggish. I'm eating poorly, making bad choices, a little cranky and not good. So last night I got 7.5. So I'm feeling pretty good today.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you use a sleep tracker?
I do not.
You do not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recommend them?
For certain people, yes. They're getting better, but they're not completely accurate as of yet. And it just depends on your type of personality. Some people get a little too obsessed with it and create more anxiety. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
See, okay. I'm a huge fan of, bio tracking. I've got Whoop. I've got the constant glucose monitor. I've got the Oura Ring, and I use Happy, right? Several hours a day. That's not really.
Does that track your sleep? No, it doesn't track, right?
No, it's not tracking. It's more direct stimulation to help me. Like right now, I've been triggering nicotinian receptor sites to get, memory and focus going. That's a huge win. That has nothing to do with sleep. That's the opposite. But it does have a deep sleep and a bedtime routine, basically with adenosine and melatonin to help you get to sleep and get to deep REM faster. But it's not a bio tracker. It's not giving you sleep stats, but I have found that I was like checking it every day with Oura, and I was like, oh, I got to beat 79 or I got to get in the 90s. And there's an interesting thing that if it can help change your habits to get you to sleep, I think that's a win. If it causes anxiety, that's a loss.
Right.
I think it helps a lot more people, obviously, than it hurts. They just got valued at $800 million last month.
It's a huge field. Like I said, not everything works for everybody, and the more accurate, the better. But I think like what you're doing with the Happy, those sleep trackers still don't get you to sleep. They're just telling you, maybe where the problem is. So more importantly is not how much sleep you're getting. It's how are you going to get the better sleep? And a few things about like what you learn if you would work with me in a session or two is we tend to underestimate how much sleep we get when we're not sleeping well. So most people do. You ever hear somebody say, I didn't sleep at all last night? And the spouse is like, I heard you snoring. What are you talking about?
Right.
You were snoring from 2 to 4. So we actually can, do tend to sleep more than we think we are, which is a good thing. And so a lot of it is how you feel the next day.
Yeah.
So if you're going to think you slept okay, but you wake up and you look at your tracker and it told you slept horribly, then you're like, oh, then the whole day you're going to feel horrible, but maybe you wouldn't have felt as bad and you could have powered through the day had you not known. So like we said, it's just, good for some, not for others, but I'm more into the how-tos.
Yeah. Yeah. The how-to. This is just a really good tool in the tool belt for people. We've got thousands of people using this to sleep. But for me, I enjoy this to help me kind of get tired and heavy eyes, start to yawn, say goodbye to the day. But I have realized before, like if I'm going to go on a really fun ski trip the next morning and I got to be up, at a certain time and I'm excited for it. And I'm like, okay, go to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't go to sleep.
No.
Like, I can't tell myself to go to sleep. A lot of people, and I can fall asleep pretty quickly, but if I'm ever trying to make myself go sleep, like I got to catch this flight in the morning, I got to go to sleep, I don't go to sleep.
Yeah. The more you will to, the harder it is.
Yeah. So what kind of tips do you have for people in that space where when their head hits the pillow, some people pass out, other people, they start thinking about the day and their worries and their insecurities and their pains and their stresses or just excitements for what's going on. And they just start going.
Right. So the number one cause of behavioral sleep problems. So I'm a psychologist, not an MD, PhD. So I deal with behavioral sleep issues. So not like the apneas and the restless leg. So the number one cause of behavioral sleep problems is stress and anxiety. And everybody tells me, can't turn my brain off, right? So what do we do? As a cognitive behavioral psychologist, you have to focus on the mind and the body. So when we're anxious, our mind goes and then our body has this fight or flight response, and that makes it very difficult to fall asleep. So there's two things you have to focus on. You have to focus on calming your mind and focus on calming your body. So how do you calm your mind? Number one tip during the pandemic and probably thereafter is journaling. Not on your phone because your electronics are supposed to be away. Get out an old-fashioned, pen to the paper and write out all of your, anxieties, your thoughts, your list for the next day. So I'm a big list person. I have like sticky notes everywhere. And when I get into bed, I think, what do I have to do for myself, for my children, for my work? If I write it out before bed, you've processed it, So anything that you're worrying about, get that out. That's a great way. So when you're traveling the night before, a lot of it is, did I pack this? And what do I do? What time do I need to get to the airport? Will the Uber get here in time and all that? So you make your list, and that's a great way to calm the mind. That's one way. And then the body. So I used to practice yoga until I hurt my wrist. I hope to get back to it. But one of the greatest things I learned from yoga was how to breathe properly. And most of us breathe too quickly and too shallow. And we need to learn how to take deep breaths. And that has helped so much. Because the number one problem with sleep is anxiety. Even though I don't really consider what I do therapy anymore, I'm helping them treat anxiety with CBT. And so we can't calm our thoughts until our heart rate goes down, until our whole nervous system is relaxed. So there's, the 4-7-8 breaths, there's the square breathing, and it just helps. It just, once you learn to do it, and then that's not just about sleep, that helps you calm yourself in any kind of anxious situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that. James Nestor has an incredible book called Breath, talking about how it's affecting your body. Breathing through your nose is incredible. He's even puts tape over his mouth to sleep. And
Really?
Yeah, incited actually a huge movement of people doing the same thing to learn how to breathe through your nose.
Right.
And almost to not decrease your breathing, but slow your breathing, to regulate your breathing. If you breathe through your nostrils, you get more oxygen, 20% more oxygen to your blood. It helps like with killing bacteria or something. A lot of things that would get stuck in the nose hairs. A lot of things that can help you. And he talks about, breath and how it absolutely changes your physiology. It changes how you think. It changes your GABA nervous system, changes so many different things.
And also and I agree with all of that. But the other thing that I talk about when I talk to parents about kids with sleep and teenagers and adults is we get into bed and we can't fall asleep. And we get anxious. Why? Because we don't know how to do it. What do I do? What do I change? Right. So, and then we choose the worst thing to do, go on our phone.
Yep.
Right. So we need tools. That is therapist's job, right? To give you the tools that you don't have. And once kids and adults have tools and they have things that they can do that they know will work to get them to sleep, already you're going into your nighttime less anxious, because if it happens and I can't sleep, it's not so bad. I can figure it out. And if I don't, it's not so bad. I'll do it tomorrow and I will survive. So there's a lot of cognitive restructuring going on along with these, different tips and tricks.
Yeah, I love that. I got a lot of quotes in my mind about sleep, but yeah, that's beautiful. Do you have your cell phone in your room at all? Like, do you have an alarm at all, or what do you
I
use?
keep my cell phone in my room, but away from my bed.
Okay.
And it's off. So I have it on, I'm a single mom, so I have it on emergency bypass for both my kids. One lives across the country from me, but it's not anywhere near me. So, and I'm really, I don't have a bad, I do have an addiction to tech like we all do, but I know sleep is my priority. So it's not that at night. They're made for us to be addicted to them, right? So any ding, any like, it increases the dopamine. It's going to make it more difficult to fall asleep. So the teenagers have this FOMO. They think, and all their friends, my kids, when they were younger, their phones are beeping all night when I wouldn't let them keep it in their room. So they think there's so much going on that they're missing. And why I love working in the schools and at universities with the kids is to teach them how to prioritize sleep. So my workshops go like this, not this is how. I start with this is why. Because you can't get to the house unless you start with the whys, right? I can talk for hours till I'm blue in the face about what you can do, but if you don't prioritize sleep, you're going to pick up your phone.
Right.
Once sleep is a priority, then you go, okay, and you could resist that urge to do all those wrong things before bed because you know how important it is. I also have a 16-year-old who's a basketball player, serious athlete. I talk to him all the time and I've drilled it in his head. I think he started to believe me once all the NBA teams started hiring professional sleep coaches.
Yeah.
Right? You can't argue with sleep for athletes, how important it is. And he'll have a great game. He's a shooter on the court and he'll make all his threes and he'll say, I got a great night of sleep the night before. Like he will associate that. Whereas most teams don't. Or, if you do great in school, I always say the night before a test, you want to be at an advantage, get a good night of sleep, don't stay up all night studying, you'll get a higher grade than the kid that stayed up all night. Why? Because memory consolidation happens while you sleep. So it's a lot of teaching, but the teaching starts with the whys, not the hows.
Yeah, I love that. Knowledge is useless unless it changes behavior. And the best way to do that is to start with the why.
Right.
Simon Sinek to the T.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Okay, well, this is awesome. A couple more, and I know we gotta get out of here. But what's the best advice you've ever been given? I know you live a life of giving advice to others and helping them sleep well. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
So my father passed away 9 years ago, and he was the one who gave me most of my advice. And the thing he always said when we were little is, my maiden name is Schindler, and he would say, can't is not in the Schindler dictionary. And that stuck with me forever. He said, don't say can't, just say why not. And so, and that really, as a female entrepreneur and a single working mom raising boys on her own, I've never said can't. I've believed in sleep for so many years before anybody talked about it. And it's first really, like you said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. And I'm busier than ever. And because I never said can't, when I first had to explain to people about sleep and, pitching to corporations about why they should, hire me to get their employees to sleep and trying to convince parents why they need to get their kids to sleep. And it was hard at the beginning, but, never say can't, say why not. So.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. I think sleep is one of the most important industries. It's not just one of the biggest industries in the world. I think it's one of the most important industries.
It is the single most important behavior you will do on a daily basis that will affect everything else. So when I describe sleep, I say there's this priority hierarchy that we all have in our lives, whether we're cognizant of it or not, we all prioritize certain things. So over the years, what are things that people have prioritized? Keeping their stress at bay, staying physically healthy, staying mentally healthy, getting along well with others, successful at work and at school. And nobody mentions sleep. So what I say is you can't have all those if sleep is not on your priority hierarchy. Get it on there, move it to the top so you can be successful. So when you read my bio, survive and thrive, we need to physically sleep to survive, stay alive, but to thrive. Really to thrive in our personal world, in our professional world, kids in their academic world, their social world. You've got to have healthy sleep or you won't get all those other great things.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a pyramid the other day of traditional hierarchy of needs, talking about the main things that keep you healthy.
Mhm.
And what people were teaching for the last, 30 years was this basic idea of, you need to get your diet right. And then you need to get your exercise. And then you need to have healthy relationships. And then you need to sleep well. It's like the little tiny thing on the icing on the cake. And if the truth is you need to flip it upside down. This post was talking about like, no, sleep first.
Yep.
Then you need to think about your diet. Then
Right.
you need to think about exercise. Then it's like all the other stuff. This is the foundational piece.
It affects
So
everything.
yeah, I think you're 100% right there. And I'm really excited about our happy bed that we're making too. I would love to have you advise, help out, use it, share the word on it. I think it's going to be an incredible.
Sounds like at the precipice of a big breakthrough.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people saying that too. And that's why I want to do it. I mean, this tech should be going into things like that for the biggest bang for the buck. I mean, if you got the digital impact of certain drugs, like we might as well use it for awesome. So
Yeah. And let's not take drugs, even the supplements, if we can be rid of that, people are so quick to just pop, a pill or a gummy now these days, and, just put in the work, and, you can get healthy sleep. And really after the pandemic, before the pandemic, sleep was a hot topic. But now, we're talking about the second pandemic within the pandemic is sleep and mental health. And you cannot talk about mental health without sleep. So I know that your happy product is, all about mental health, right? And staying happy. And, you're not going to be without healthy sleep. So our anxiety levels and our depression levels in, the world now after the pandemic are through the roof, and sleep will make that worse, and good sleep will make it better. So I love that, I chose this route as a psychologist so many years ago to go into sleep, but now they're so intertwined. It's just, you need to stay healthy, mind and body. We got the body down. We're coming out of COVID, thank God, and, moving along. But now we got to focus on the mind now that we're out of the body health, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's going to be the next major issue that we need to solve as a society.
Yeah. So I got to solve our sleep. Somebody else can solve our mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been an awesome interview. Where can people, I know we have Solve Our Sleep is your organization, is your company.
Yep.
And what links, I want to put all these links in show notes and it gets everybody. So how can they find you? How can the audience find you?
Okay. It's, solvoursleep.com. My email, if anybody wants to get me directly, is Whitney at Solve Our Sleep, and all my social media on Instagram, Facebook, all Solve Our Sleep.
Perfect. Okay. Well, it's as easy as that, guys. Go on over, check her out. Please follow her as well. She's got amazing tips and ideas on social, and email her the moment you are not getting good sleep. Yeah. I think it's a perfect lead in. So thank you so much for the incredible conversation today, Whitney. This has been really, really important and helpful to our audience. I want to release this in the summertime so people can start thinking about vacations and travel and, right after post-pandemic work. So thank you again. And thanks everybody for listening today. We'll catch you on the next episode.